Hello and welcome to the Blackout podcast where I get to talk to amazing people who do amazing things. And today I'm so excited to have the founder and CEO of EduHaus, Simone LeGendre. Got it. Thanks for coming to the podcast today.
Thank you so much for having me.
So what is EduHaus?
All right. So EduHaus is a social enterprise, and we're dedicated to making STEM, so science, technology, engineering, and math, more accessible to underrepresented groups. And I'm doing this because I think that scientific literacy is really important for us to make decisions about our lives and also to participate in the economy.
Yeah, I know. I mean, just going through your LinkedIn and all the things you've done. In fact, I saw the other day you did something with NASA. That was freaking cool.
Yeah. So I'm part of a NASA program, NASA Space Apps Challenge, and still in the program right now. And we're working on making NASA open data more accessible and working alongside other cohort members and NASA experts to bring open data to everyone.
That is so freaking cool. So let's go back a little bit. Like, have you always been the science kid or?
Yeah, so I loved doing stuff, tinkering, experiments, anything like that. Anything I can get my hands on, I would just have fun with it, even as a young child, which is kind of like, being a very early scientist. Um, I would just mix things together, make new things, take things apart. And then when I got into school, I realized that, yeah, I like science a lot. So I've always been that person, yeah.
Wow. What do you like about science?
I think science gives you a way to understand the world around you, whether it's through biology or chemistry or physics, just understanding how gravity works, like, different things, or even, in modern times, like with climate change, understanding how the world is changing and how that impacts us. It, it's, it's something for me that helps me to make meaning of the world around me.
I mean, like high school and stuff. What were some of the subjects you enjoyed?
Oh, so in high school, I really liked physics.
Oh,
I also liked biology. Chemistry was good too, but I think physics and biology were my favorites. And then, I think geography and geology were very, very interesting. Understanding like how the Earth was formed and how the Earth changes and is changing. I couldn't get enough of it.
wow. What did you love about physics and biology?
So for me, physics was a big why kind of subject.
Oh,
Like you could ask a lot of why with physics. Why does this happen? Why is this like this? Which, by the way, I asked why a lot when I was a kid, which didn't always work out for me. But I questioned a lot, and I think physics is one of those subjects that's practical, but also theoretical at the same time.
And then, did you know, I guess, what you wanted to study in university by the time you were done with high school, or?
Yeah, so it's interesting. So I grew up in Trinidad and Tobago, and our school system there kind of shapes you for a career path when you're like in middle school.
Oh,
So when I was in middle school, getting to like high school, I was kind of streamlined in what we call earth sciences. So that would be biology, chemistry, geography, for a future career in, geology or something to do with earth science. And so I was streamlined for that pathway. So I really wanted to be a geologist, but I didn't end up being a geologist.
okay.
After high school, I wanted to go to the US, to study, to go to university in America. And my parents were like, okay, calm down. You need to work and, get some more life experience and see if this is still what you want to do. So I had a bunch of different really great work experiences. And then I ended up working with a not-for-profit organization that worked with youth from different backgrounds and with different abilities. And in this program, I was working with youth who had different disabilities and those who were also previously incarcerated. And these youth, I was telling them all about rocks and how I was going to be this geologist and I'll be exploring for oil. And they were like, how could you love this? Like what is so interesting about rocks that you will want to study this for the rest of your life? So I was just sharing with them my passion for science and for rocks. And they said, have you ever thought about becoming a teacher? And I was like, nope, never. Never crossed my mind, not for me. And they were like, you know what? I think that we need more teachers like you. And maybe you could inspire more people to love rocks. So I was like, what? So I was applying to schools in the US. I was putting down geology, all of the earth science, like all of those majors. And then I was like, maybe I'll start looking at education. And I applied to one college with the major of education, and I got back a full scholarship.
Wow.
And I took it, and then I became a teacher.
How was it like teaching for you?
Teaching for me was awesome. I taught mostly math and science, and it was just like being able to inspire, but also to have fun. Because I taught in a way that made things really hands-on, I felt like it was a way to get kids to see that learning can be fun and that science can be fun at a young age. So I really enjoyed it.
What class age group did you teach?
So I started off teaching fourth grade, fifth grade, sometimes third grade. But then as I went on, I started developing lessons and teaching more older, like secondary school or high school. And then I got into doing some post-secondary, so tertiary education, university, college, and then lifelong learning. So everything from kindergarten to grandparents.
Wow. And was all this in the US or?
No,
Trinidad?
so I taught in the US for a while, then I went back home to Trinidad. And then that's where I kind of got more into the informal side of education.
Oh, what was that?
So, so traditionally we'll call everything in the school system formal education, and then we'll refer to informal education as like science centers, science museums, things that are education related but not governed by like the school board or the school system.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, okay. See, I didn't even think of that, like the Discovery Center, things like
Yes,
that.
exactly like the Discovery Center.
Oh, that's okay. Well, I'm like, I've literally never heard of that before till this moment.
Yeah.
Okay. And did you love that?
Oh, I loved it. So I worked at the National Science Center in Trinidad and Tobago, which is kind of like the Discovery Center. And it was just amazing. It was like, could you imagine working in a 52,000 square foot like playhouse? Like you have science exhibits, you have like a dome theater, and this is your job. Like this is what you do every day. So we created a lot of scientific content for all age groups, like I said, from kindergarten to grandparents, community members, people who had experience in the school system and those who did not. It was just a wonderful experience being able to bring science to so many people.
Wow. Wow. Yeah, I can't even, that's super cool. And it's cool loving what you're doing and also kind of seeing the impact in the kids. Because, yeah, a kid might go to the science center one day and want to be a geologist too.
Yeah.
And so what led to you moving to Nova Scotia and Halifax?
So that was really interesting. So I guess after a while being back home in Trinidad, I was like, I probably feel like I could take on a new challenge again. And at the time I had cousins that lived in Canada. And so my aunt was like, you should think about Canada. It's a nice place. I'd never been to Canada before. And I just remember my cousin who was in New Brunswick sending photos of like snow up to like his head.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, this looks like God's refrigerator, but you know what? It's a really nice place, like from what I could see, from what I could tell. And at that time, I was just like, why not try something new? And I applied through the immigration stream, and everything happened really quickly. And then I was just here.
And how long have you been here now?
So this will be my 7th year here.
How's it the past 7 years been? Move straight to Halifax or?
Yeah, I moved straight to Halifax, sight unseen. I'd never been here before, but I did a lot of research on different provinces, and I really fell in love with the African Nova Scotian history of the province. And I felt like, okay, yeah, this is probably a place that kind of resonated with me. And funnily enough, like where I grew up in Trinidad, like in the city, like on my street on the corner was the Bank of Nova Scotia.
Oh, wow.
So it was just like the Bank, like Scotia Bank. But back in the day, that was the name that was on the building. So like as a kid, like I always saw Nova Scotia. I didn't really know like I would end up living here at some point, but you know, you never know. The dots only connect looking back.
Right, right.
Yeah.
And how have the past 7 years been for you?
It's been quite an adventure. So I came here, I got a job offer from the provincial government. So I started working in government as a STEM curriculum consultant. So an extension of the work that I had loved doing.
Yeah.
You know, I honestly didn't think that I would get so lucky or be so blessed to work in my field because I knew before that this would not be the story, the typical story of an immigrant. I knew in my head I would have to start over. And so I was not even expecting a job in my field. I was looking maybe to start over, maybe just working in a retail store or something like that. And then I was like, maybe I'll just apply for jobs and see what happens. And I applied for 2 jobs and they both called me back.
Nice.
And I was like, whoa, is this my sign?
Yeah.
And I guess it was.
It was. And EduHaus, let's take it back full circle to EduHaus. So what was your reason to set it up and how have things been so far?
Yeah, so EduHaus was really born of a brain spark that I had a couple years ago when I was visiting Germany. I was there for an entrepreneurship and innovation week at a university. I was visiting with a group of scientists. This was back when I was still in Trinidad, and we were looking at how they incorporate innovation and entrepreneurship into their post-secondary education system. So here we had students who were participating in this entrepreneurship week, and they just had so many great ideas, everything from innovative ways to feed cattle all the way up to you know, just really cool tech, just anything at all. And I was really kind of inspired by how much focus they put on letting young minds be creative. And I was like, well, wow, what is the skill that I have that I can be creative with? And so, you know, once I got here and I got a little bit more familiar with how things operate, I was like, why not take my education skills and be creative with that and address a problem that I think needs addressing? And so for me, it was, you know, blending that passion for STEM and science and solving the problem of not everyone has equal access to science education and to experiences with education overall. So that's why I started EduHaus.
Wow. And the name, where did the name come from?
So edu is for education, and then house is spelled Haus because I was in Germany, and that's how you spell house, like house. And EduHaus kind of means that one-room schoolhouse. So in the history of education and how schools came to be, there was this premise of a one-room schoolhouse, which is where you would have children of all ages learning together and also learning from each other.
Wow.
So older kids teaching younger kids and younger kids learning from their peers. And for me, that's a model that really works because we're all in this together as a community. So it's kind of like each one teach one.
That's beautiful. And so I guess how do people interact with the EduHaus?
So for a while, we were mostly business to business. So working on projects for other, for not-for-profit, for academia, for companies. But now we're actually working on an educational app. So we're working on an EdTech app that will be our first, that will be one of our B2C products. So this app helps to kind of make STEM education more personalized.
Wow.
So we're hoping to launch that MVP in the next couple of months. And then we started a book series. So the book series focuses on having cool experiments to do at home, like during the holiday time. Because a lot of kids actually have some cognitive losses during breaks if they're not actively engaged. So parents want kids to come off the screens and do things in person. So we put out one for the Christmas holidays, and we'll have others coming up where we have like just about 12 experiments that kids and families can do at home. And then we also have an applied STEM project called Roots and Harvest. And this addresses the problem of food insecurity within the Black and immigrant community. So I just had this idea that, as immigrants, we are displaced from a lot of the food that we usually eat, especially vegetables and produce that can't grow here just because of climate factors, right? So I was like, well, what if we try to control for those climate factors by putting it inside of a shipping container?
Wow.
So we're working on our operational prototype right now to design a climate controlled hydroponic farm inside of a used shipping container.
You're a busy person. How do you balance it all, though?
You know what? I'm off balance on purpose.
Oh.
Like, I really thrive in multitasking and in an environment where there's a lot going on at once. That really drives me to stay motivated, to stay on track. And that's just where I thrive. Like, I'm not the kind of person that can just like do one thing at a time. Like, I need to have several things going because I have a lot of energy to put into things.
Wow. I have so many questions, but maybe we'll have a second round of this. I usually let guests go with this question, and I might have an idea, but what's something that happened to you before you were 17 that shaped who you are today?
Yeah. Let's see, before I was 17. When I was in high school, like in early high school, there was this program that was like a leadership development program. And so every school had to participate or not. It was called the Young Leaders Challenge. I think it was by RBC or something. And our school, we came up with, our whole year group came up with a project that was focused on children our age, so youth our age who didn't have their mothers with them. Because in the Caribbean, there was this phenomenon where a lot of moms left their kids behind to go look for better opportunities in the US, in Canada, in the UK. And so these kids were growing up without their moms, and their parents would often send things back for them in these huge barrels. So the term that was used at the time was called barrel children, because their parents would send things back for them in these huge barrels. And so our year group decided that we wanted to learn more about this problem. So here we were, like, must have been like 15 or 16, developing like questions for interviews to go to the different islands in the Caribbean, interview youth. So me and another group, we went to St. Vincent, and we interviewed some young women who were living without their moms.
Wow.
And then we decided to bring it all together in like a documentary. And so I was hosting the documentary with one of my peers, and she and I were we had to do the script, we had to like get ready to go on TV. Then they interviewed us on the news, and then we actually found the mother of one of the girls that we were profiling.
Wow.
And she came on the show.
Wow.
So we reunited them on the documentary show, like on live, well, not live, but on pre-recorded TV.
Right.
And like, it was just so impactful for me. Like, it was emotional, but it also helped me to understand at an early age that there are real systemic inequities in the world. And although you may be like a youth or a young person, you could still do something to help solve that problem.
Wow.
You could participate in that. Like, you can have a civic purpose and a voice. And I think that kind of shaped my leadership and all the things that I'm involved in.
Yeah, I mean, you can see kind of the breadcrumbs from that to what you're doing now with EduHaus. How can people, like, is there a way to check out EduHaus, contact EduHaus, and what you're doing?
Yeah, so we have our website, which is www.eduhaus.ca. We are on LinkedIn. We're working on the Instagram and all the other socials, but I'm also on LinkedIn, and people can also email us at info@eduhaus.ca. And yeah, we're always looking for volunteers, collaborators, people who have ideas, who have resources, or people who want to donate or fund one of our projects. We're always looking for anyone who wants to be part of the story.
Yeah, I know it's a beautiful story and it's actually magical. So I'm gonna let you go with a little bit of magic of my own.
Okay.
So write a number between 1 and 60. Do not show me. Once you're done, you can show any of the cameras. And I'm gonna try to use these cards to show you guess what your number is.
Between 1 and
60. Point you to any of the cameras, and then I will try to show you the thing. Okay, here we go. So your number can be, it's going to be in at least one of the cards.
Okay.
But it can be more than one.
Okay.
Okay. So here we go. Is it here?
No.
Nope. Here.
Yes.
Okay. And here.
No.
Okay. And here.
No.
All right. And here.
Yes.
Okay. I got it. 33.
Yes. Good job.
Oh my God. Thank you so much for all the amazing work you do with EduHaus, and thanks for coming to the podcast today.
Thank you so much. Thanks. It was really great to be here.